Hobbyfy with Eric Sheets-Haber. We're going to be talking through this is a 9-game MLB slate. I only played like a couple lineups yesterday. Didn't do well, so had nothing to talk about. Sheets, you were profitable.
I did nicely. I did really nicely yesterday. I cashed in both of the two big buy-ins, the 250 and the other one, and I actually missed. I missed second in the bat flip by like 0.2 or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Overall, pretty good day. And then I cashed in the NBA a little bit last night. Just nothing great, but like pretty solid. I mean, something's got to pay for my golf lineup. So let's get how much Austin Hubbard? How much my Hubbard can I have? It's going to be the question. He's only got to come in probably like -5 today, or maybe -6 to get there. We'll just see how it goes. But listen, big MLB slate tonight. Oh, by the way, the Knicks, they survived.
Oh, what a Jesus, man!
Survived just barely. They try everything in their power to lose. They just couldn't. Brunson was just too good. He just couldn't let him lose. He tried.
That was too good of a. That was that felt like an incredible series, and it felt like it should have been a 7-game. It felt like it was a 7-game series that only was actually 6 games. You know,
exactly.
It was an amazing series. Oh man, I was happy for your Knicks though. It was a great game. I couldn't I had nothing invested in it. I didn't play the basketball yesterday, and I was totally hooked in just like watching every second of that one.
And I will say this, not that it's like a lock or anything like that, but I'm kind of cool with playing Indiana, you know, and you know, you got a hobbled Tyrese Halliburton, you know what I mean? Like, I'm down with it. So we'll see what happens. I don't think either team is particularly good. If you want to know the truth, but let them fight it out. The winner gets a shot at the Celtics, I guess.
But one thing you learn in the playoffs is that having an identity sometimes can be better than being good. It can make up for it. And the Knicks know who they are, and having the ball in Brunson's hand every time it matters.
Yeah, that's who they are.
Is a good thing. Yeah, and everybody else plays their roles perfectly, and it's a nice team.
Dude, and Josh F. and Hart with the big 3. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was huge. But they got the it's interesting because it's literally the most contrasting you could ever imagine a playoff series. So I'm really curious how it goes because Indiana's going to try and run and play 11 guys. New York's going to try and slow the ball down and play 6 guys. Like it's going to be fun. Anyway, we can get into some baseball here. Let's pull up your screen and we'll go game by game. My first look is that I don't think that there is a must starting pitcher, but there's a number that I think are reasonably interesting and none that I feel good about. And I know
there are a lot of guys that you could that don't project all that great that you could just say I don't care, I'm playing. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And it's going to be interesting to see what you like because I'm kind of with you. I have a kind of a small field of like top pitchers and I don't like any of them. And I have like one like main stack which no one's going to like either. So we'll see how it goes. So let's just get started here. So Yankees against the Tigers, in an attempt to make the slate small, I guess, I really don't have too much in this game. Stroman, I think this is where Stroman should be priced, by the way. I mean, this is actually pretty sharp pricing, you know, because he probably has very, very big win odds here, but he's just not a big fantasy pitcher, you know. So I think this is actually pretty fair at 8,800. Olsen on the other side, and no interest really, and I'm not really getting to the Yankees here. So pretty much nothing for me in this game.
Yeah, like I don't have any. Like I have no. I think that you could make an argument for like maybe stacking the Yankees. It's a good enough matchup where I'm definitely open to it. But again, it's 61 degrees, 9-mile-an-hour winds blowing in from right. Reese Olson is not that bad. Like, I actually think he's decent enough. I think I'm probably off this as well. I think Stroman, I do think Stroman is in the mix of many of these guys we can consider. That's what I've got.
LA against Cleveland, is that? I just see a little rain thing in the DraftKings app. Is there rain issues over there or not really? Or
there's a little. Okay, so it looks like there's a little bit of rain issue. I'm just gonna go through real quick, I guess the weather. So this game, it looks like just like spotty showers, and that should be fine. Colorado at Pittsburgh it looks kind of bad. And
Ooh, let's go. Oh, dude, if we can
what?
get a rain out there and a non-reschedule game, I'm a freaking genius because remember, I need Pittsburgh to go under 500 and they're 0-3 with 3 games to go. They have
Right.
3 games against Colorado, so they could certainly sweep them, you know? So any game that gets canceled that is not rescheduled this weekend, I win. So
That's huge.
Big rain over there.
Hopefully. And fortunately we don't have to worry about it for this purpose because it's not on the main slate.
Right.
So that's the other thing.
That's correct.
All right, so let's talk about Cleveland, who seems the world beaters against the Angels, who are pretty much the worst team in baseball. What do you got?
Well, and as I mentioned, when Trout went down, it's going to be like a long couple of weeks at least of streaming pitchers against the Angels, I think. And this is certainly no exception. You have Tanner Beebe, who's really coming in there, and he's pretty freaking cheap. At 8,500, considering the matchup, considering how well, how he's been doing. So he's currently right now projecting as my best pitcher. But as I mentioned, there's a lot of guys you could play. But listen, to start with something, I'm going to start by just putting Bieber just kind of right in there. And I'm not really getting to the hitting on either side of this. What do you think of BB? What else do you like from this game?
You threw me off with the Bieber for a second because I was ready. I was like, Bieber pitches for the other side. I was wondering, wait, did I get the wrong starting pitcher? But Bieber, I know we could have had the Bieber. Oh no, we couldn't have had the Bieber and Beebe because they're on the same team.
No,
my bad. Yeah, so it's actually pretty decent pitching conditions. A little bit of again scattered shower concerns. But as of right now, I've got BB right near the top. I'm going to keep doing this against the Angels. BB at home, I like his strikeout stuff, and I feel like this is the most obvious play on the slate to me. And I think that you could make, again, you could make an argument for Cleveland. They're not my favorite, but I certainly wouldn't fault if they did something weird and like Will Brennan's cheap enough, Tyler Freeman's cheap enough to where you could consider those guys like if maybe in part of a mini stack or a one-off or something like that, but nothing that screams that I need to play it here hitting wise.
I guess I'll start with Texas, Kansas City. So you have Lorenzen against Brady Singer, and Brady Singer is obviously somebody I like to play. It's a very, very difficult matchup, and I'd rather not play him in Kansas City if I could avoid it also. So I'm probably going to be not going to be playing Brady Singer. As a matter of fact, I'm actually showing Texas as a pretty good value here as far as the stacks go. So I'm going to put Texas in as one of my top value stacks. And I'm not getting to Lorenzen on the pitching side, and I'm not getting to KC. So for me, depending on wind and all that stuff, but KC's usually been pretty hitter friendly this year. I'll put Texas in as the first stack that I'm interested in.
Yeah, sort of weird like crosswinds in KC today. It is 74 degrees, and for what it's worth, KC is generally considered one of the bottom 10 hitting stadiums in baseball. It's had some fluky games where there's been wind blowing out, and it's been a little bit warmer there than it has been a lot of other places. So I think that's why you've seen a little bit of a boost there. Yeah, I mean, Texas, first game, whatever, traveling on the road to KC. It's a great lineup. I don't know if this is where I want to utilize them. I do think KC is kind of in play, especially you've got the cheap Massey in there, and Renfroe might get in there, and he's 2,800. Isbell is 28. Like, you've got cheap things that make it so if you wanted to use it with either as a main or a complementary stack, I think it makes enough sense. And I don't, Michael Lorenzen, I've never been able to figure out as a pitcher. And then when I think I've had him figured out and he's bad, he goes up and he throws a no-hitter. He puts his no-hitter last year. He's pitched great in Atlanta a couple starts ago. So he hasn't been terrible, but I still think KC deserves to be on the list right now. They're the first team I kind of like. I mean, I mentioned the Cleveland and then the Yankees, but I think KC is in play. All right, Seattle and the
hold on. Let me just see if there's anybody else that's standing out as far as guys I want to play from this game. If I did want to play Texas, I guess Evan Carter would look pretty good. Nathaniel Lowe, obviously Seager. So these are the three I would start with if you did want to play Kansas. Yeah, okay, so Seattle, Houston, that's what we have next.
Seattle and Houston, who's going to be like the worst team in the history of baseball against the spread and for projected run lines, whatever. Every time that people start screaming to stack them, including me when they were like no hit through 6, and then they ended up with like 1 hit. It's been wild ride for the Astros. They have played a little bit better recently, but they have been awful this season, and I love to see that just from a baseball fan standpoint.
So with that said, okay, so let's talk about this. So we're going to get to other pitchers and other things later, but not to spoil it. I mean, Tanner Beebe showing up as like the only pitcher, at least. Well, we'll get to another one later that you have some degree of confidence in, and your SP2s are kind of like all over the place, and you could do worse than kind of a semi-low owned George Kirby if you want to know the truth. I mean, I'm looking here. He certainly doesn't project near the top, but you know he's got upside, and if we think Houston's kind of prone to getting beat on a little bit, I think Kirby's totally in play. And in addition to that, I'm getting this Ronel Blanco at 8,200 reasonable as well, but he's getting some ownership. It looks like because it's against Seattle, and it's because it's righties against Seattle and all that stuff. So okay, so I do like both, and it's kind of weird to like both pitchers in a game in Houston. So obviously proceed at your own risk. But that's kind of what I have. I have both pitchers. I don't have Kirby in play, but I'm making him in play. How about that? So I like Kirby and Blanco as well.
So the problem I have with taking pitchers against Houston is that they have the lowest strikeout, that they've struck out the fewest times against right-handed pitching this season of any team in baseball, which even though they've been bad offensively, it's a pretty alarmingly low strikeout number. That's part of my issue. And also, by the way, as bad as Houston's been, I'm not an idiot. I think that they will actually rebound and be like at least near 500 team by the end of the season. Maybe, just a little under. I don't think they're the worst team in baseball. I do think Blanco and Kirby are both in play, but if you had to choose one right now, I think I'd have to go with, well, we know Blanco has upside. He's got, I think, maybe does he have the biggest score of the season so far? Right up there. He's got to, because he's got the no-hitter. He is got to be in play, and he's been solid enough. And it's Seattle who strikes out a ton. So yeah, I think it's both pitchers are kind of interesting. And if you wanted to take the contrarian stance, it would be Seattle for me, not Houston. But nothing that really makes enough sense for me to prioritize in this game. You know what happens every day? Every day it looks like we're not interested in anything, and then the late games come up, and it's like we want all of it.
Yep.
All right. So next up we have let's see, it's Boston, Miami.
Boston, Minnesota.
Boston, Minnesota.
And I don't know what the weather's like in this game, but I like both these pitchers at their prices. I do like Houck at 8,100. I like Paddock at 6,300. The resurrection, I guess. The resurrection that's usually comes with being against the White Sox, I suppose. But I do have both these pitchers as sort of top SP2 values, if you want to know the truth. So that's what I like here. I'm not getting to either of the hitting for some reason. So, I mean, are these terrible? This is a terrible idea. What do you think?
I just don't like Paddock has been like the worst pitcher outside of the one start against the White Sox.
Yeah,
I know. And I can't quite get to it. But look, you do have a 4-run total, and only for Boston. I'm just gonna take a quick look. I'm just curious what the K prop is on Paddock today.
It was like 4.5, maybe.
5, and that's not that bad for his price. I mean, I guess I could talk myself into Paddock.
What about Houck though? He's got some Ks in here.
Yeah, well, Houck is more of a makes some sense. He's just 8,100 is a little bit of a price difference. He's at 5.8 is the projected number. So I think both pitchers are interesting, but again, nobody I feel like I have to play. I think I still prefer Blanco with the upside potentially above both these guys, but maybe that's a mistake when it comes to Houck. I actually think I'm going to put Houck as one of the 3 priority-ish guys. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to do it.
I mean, Houck has a 45 piece against Cleveland.
I know, against Cleveland too. He got the complete game. What was it? He gave up 1 hit, right? 3-hitter.
3 hits, but 9 strikeouts, complete game shutout in only 94 pitches.
Oof, that's impressive stuff.
That's not a lot of balls.
It's like earlier this year was the first guy in under 85 pitches to have 14 strikeouts, or was it 86 pitches? I can't remember what it was, but it was something crazy like that. All right. So Boston, Oakland for power as a stack. Oof. I'll tell you who I do like. This freaking Connor Wong has become like my new favorite player for Boston.
Yeah, he could be, couldn't it?
He's awesome. He not only does he hit the ball, he made one of the better plays I've seen a catcher make like the other day. A guy hit a slow ground ball up along third. Before you know it, he's coming out along the third baseline. Like it was a play I like literally no catcher is supposed to make that play, and he made an incredible one. Anyway. All right, now we get to the White Sox and Cardinals. Ugh, two inept offenses.
Yeah, two inept offenses, and one of them are showing up as one of my best stacks. So, St. Louis is just happens to be showing up as the best combination of raw points and value I have in at least the sheet that I use. So we'll just throw that out there. And then you have Sonny Gray, who is against the White Sox, but they're not making it too easy for you at 10,100. Is he worth 10-1? You want to? I mean, every other time we've been playing these like Joe Ryans and these high price guys against the White Sox has been kind of a struggle. What do you think of Sonny Gray? You like St. Louis at all? What are you into this game?
I don't like Sonny Gray's price, but it's hard to deny that this is there's a 2.6 total against him. It's warm, slight winds blowing in 5 miles an hour. Look, I'm just very I'm very skeptical when it comes to the Cardinals being chalk, and it's because they're so bad and they're so like they have cheap pieces who have been terrible, but all of their expensive pieces have been just as terrible. Like Goldschmidt has been awful. Arenado has been awful. Between the two of them, they've hit 3 home runs in 30 plus whatever games. Yeah, I understand the paper makes them make sense. And it's weird with baseball because I almost like the more digging I was doing into team stats and stuff, it really makes you like just not want to go to certain places when they're chalky. And I consider St. Louis to be one of those places. So I think it's going to come down to ownership because I do like the matchup against Keller. I do like that it's 77 degrees. I like the pricing on the cheap pieces, but man, they are just a complete like terrible offense so far this season. Now, I'm not going to write them off. They're on the list, but man, I hope we can do a little better than this. I think we can in the next couple games.
Well, let's look at some of these guys you're looking at. So Donovan, like Nootbaar, Burleson, like they're guys that are, like you said, like pretty
Mason Wynn,
pretty inexpensive to say the least.
Yeah, Mason,
and you can always play. Well, one thing you will so Burleson, you probably wouldn't want to play. You probably want to play Goldschmidt, I guess.
Burleson, you got his outfield option also.
That's what I'm saying. So you play him at Goldschmidt at first base, and then you can afford whatever you want. What is Contreras over 5K still? Wow, that's a big price for a catcher, I have to say.
He's 5.3. But if you look at that, like that's the Contreras brothers are just become the most dominant, or the Contreras have become they're just the dominant catchers in baseball apparently because they're always 50 something hundred. And honestly, I don't know what he's done to deserve a $5,300 price tag. He's hitting 250. He's got 5 home runs. Like, okay, he's a really good hitter in real life, but like, why is he 5,300? That makes no sense.
Yeah,
and he's their best hitter. So it's a little weird. It's a little weird stacking up St. Louis, and I did it in the. I mean, look, the biggest tournament of the year so far. I did it. So, how is Siwoo Kim only 2 under when he was 6 under a minute ago? I must have missed something.
I think you're the wrong Kim, maybe.
Different Kim. All right. Let's see. San Diego, Arizona. Okay, here we go. Let's see what. First, as you go, I'll do the roof check. I didn't do the roof check.
Yeah, I don't think I want to play Cease here. I don't know. I mean, whether roof is up or down or whatever. I mean, Arizona could hit, and I don't know. I always have this feeling that whenever I play Cease, I always just get better matchups. It's like so. I don't have Cease as a priority here. I have him rated like 8th or 9th or something like that, and I'm seeing him getting. What am I getting? 15% ownership. I see. Okay, it's mild, I suppose. So I don't think I'm getting there. As far as hitting goes, I mean, not really. So I'm probably off of this game completely, actually.
And I said it the last time he pitched. Philadelphia feels like a nightmare matchup for him. They sure enough, they got to him. I feel like this could be a nightmare for him, and the roof is open for what it's worth. Um, I don't know what I'm going to do with C's because I do think the upside is can negate a lot of my concerns about the downside. So I really don't know what to do with him. But it is interesting. He usually has like the 7+ K, expected. He's only at 6.2 today. It's a tough team, this Arizona team. Believe me, I feel like the Dodgers have played Arizona like 700 times in the last 2 years. So I feel like Arizona is a team I know really well, and it's just it's a tough matchup. And every now and then, sure, they might have a bad game, but it's tough. The Ciccone, I don't even know how to pronounce his name exactly. There's been some positive stuff about him. I still think the Padres are kind of interesting here. I'd like to take advantage of something in the stadium, and on a smaller slate, I might be talking about even stacking Arizona as a super contrarian against C's. I don't think we quite need to go there. But the one thing that's important to remember is like C's, much like, well, Blake Snell, the former version of Blake Snell. Blake Snell has been the worst pitcher in the major leagues this year. He literally has been the worst pitcher in major leagues. But C's has the same type of downside. Like some great pitchers, like we're picking on him. I'm like, why are we doing this? Maybe they give up 2 solo home runs and like no other hits. But C's is the kind of guy, he gets wild and all of a sudden the floodgates open. So, maybe I should reconsider my Arizona thing because this game is going to have great hitting conditions in the heat in Arizona with the roof open. Both offenses are capable enough, even though San Diego's been, that's a lot to be desired so far this season. I think they're good enough offenses. And I think I'm open to having parts of both sides of it because it's going to be very clear. Like there's not one like really clear stack today. And I think that mixing it up with these guys might be a way I go. All right. Miami, Oakland.
So I think I'm gonna make something up here. I think Oakland is going to try to set the record today for the lowest attendance in a game from a team with 3 straight wins. That's what I think they're going to be going for here.
The lowest 3-game winning streak narrative.
The lowest attendance for a 3-game winning streak team. That's going to be. They're home against Miami, and if they weren't out of business from the low attendance from Pittsburgh coming to town, the Miami freight train is not exactly going to boost the attendance either. And I will like to say, by the way, just to your point from before, the Oakland A's are 3.5 games ahead of the Houston Astros.
Yep.
Thought I would just mention it.
Yep.
So I think that both of these pitchers at 6K are in play, as gross as it is. And I think that at least the Oakland side of the hitting is in play. It's a gross game to have exposure to in general, but that's just the way it is. I mean, you have 2 teams that have pretty bad hitting. So this is what you're going to get. I think that Sears 6,100, Weather is 6K, and at least the Oakland side of the hitting are all in play as cheap parts of your lineups.
How about this Tyler Nevin? He's the Connor, like as Power said.
That's right.
The
Firestone, like sneaky MVP, sneaky all-star team.
Exactly. Yeah, he's been amazing. To be honest, I have interest in Sears here. I actually think Sears might end up being like a priority for me by the end of the day. Again, it depends on how you stack, but this is a good matchup with a team flying across the country. This is the kind of spot where I think I want to attack it. And by the way, for what it's worth, Sears just was very, very good. He had a little bit of a tough outing against Baltimore, but he actually pitched good in real life. He just gave up, unfortunately, the 3 home runs. Let's say pitched good in real life. He struck out 8 over 6 innings. He struck out 7 over 6 and had 25 fantasy points against the Yankees the game before. Before that, at Texas, at the Yankees, at Texas, he goes back-to-back 25. What am I afraid of the Marlins for? So I think Sears is actually, he might end up being like my most, as of right now, if I needed the money, and maybe I will, I really like Sears. I will not get to Ryan Weathers, but I don't think it's like the worst idea to get some exposure. And I also think that an Oakland stack is, or at least a mini stack is totally in order. So 3-prong game for me, no interest in the Miami bats, but I do like Oakland and I do like Sears a lot.
What is the weather in Los Angeles today?
So the weather today out my way is colder. It's 60 degrees only, but there are 10-mile-an-hour winds blowing out to right center, and you have the offenses that you want to stack. But I think with these offenses, you'd feel okay going ahead and stacking them. I know Atlanta's been struggling a little bit lately, but yeah, I understand the question.
Well, I mean, we've been through, the whole slate and haven't really identified a team that we're nervous about scoring 7 runs. You know what I mean? Like, we went through this entire slate, and I'm trying to look through St. Louis. You know what I mean? Like, who's really doing this? Texas against Brady Singer, maybe, I guess. Houston, Seattle, they both have kind of rough matchups there. The Yankees, I suppose, can get to Olsen for a bunch of runs, but in the absence of all of that, I mean, this game could be the nuts. The rhetorical question, actually, it's not even rhetorical, so we have to ask this: is Charlie Morton kind of good enough to keep me off the Dodgers? And I think the answer is no. Given everything that I've just said, I think that I do like the Dodgers in spite of the fact that Morton is obviously not bad. I do think Atlanta is probably my top team if I can get to them, though. They have the firepower, and this kid, listen, he could be good or whatever. He's still 20, he's still 25 or whatever. And Atlanta, they've been kind of underperforming recently, but they just have that 10-run upside in them from time to time. So considering the context of the slate right now, I think some combination of these two teams are going to be my top overall stacks, at least for raw points. And considering that my top pitchers certainly aren't costing too much, like some combination of BB and how Sears, even, you know what I mean? Like I could probably afford to do all this. So I think some combination of these two teams are going to be my top options.
Yeah. So it's interesting with this one because I always have had like probably more respect for Charlie Morton as a real life pitcher, but I've watched him pitch against the Dodgers and it's never really gone well for him. He's had some experience with these guys. They have 150 some odd, 160 plate appearances against him, hitting 270, but with 18 walks, so 14% walk rate. This seems like a thing I'm not going to be afraid to do. Now, I wish it was 80 degrees and stuff like that. And still, I think this is the highest total on the slate, which is kind of amazing because both pitchers are not bad. But I think the Atlanta thing, I mean, to me, that seems a little more like what people would do, but it doesn't look like they're doing either. And are people really? I don't think that's right. I think people are going to be on Atlanta a little bit, and I think they're going to be on the Dodgers a little bit. I don't know why we wouldn't be. To be honest with you, I'm not afraid. Like if I'm Atlanta, I'm not afraid of Gavin Stone. If I'm the Dodgers, I'm not afraid of Charlie Morton. I mean, the Dodgers have right now 3 of the top 6 hitters in baseball. I think it is statistically between Betts, Ohtani, and Will Smith. That doesn't even count Freddie Freeman, Max Muncy, and Teoscar, who's been great or has been good, and then Pages, who might even be the best of all of them. No, I'm just kidding. But he's been great. So I'm in on both of these teams just because I don't really love all that much else. Like you said.
Well, I got one other team I want to suggest that we kind of glossed over, considering again we've been through everything already. Mm-hmm. I don't think we gave this enough talk. I mean, you talked about the Caccione or whatever, but I mean, in case he's not that good, I mean, you do have the Padres in a good park, you know. So I think that when now that we've been through all this and we're saying, okay, who's better than Miami, Oakland, St. Louis, like all this other stuff. I think that San Diego probably moves closer to the top than I originally thought.
Yeah, and so that's what I've got: the Dodgers, Atlanta, and San Diego, Arizona as the games to target, and I think that
cool.
Both sides of them, but San Diego especially, obviously. Oakland for value, Kansas City, then St. Louis. That's the way I've got it ranked currently.
I'm getting all this ownership on St. Louis in the projections. You know what I mean? So that's and like you said though, St. Louis hasn't scored runs like ever. So.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, it is 77 degrees, so I guess there's that. But wind blowing in, like I don't know, it's not all that exciting. But the other games, I mean, Dodger Stadium when it's cold and Oakland when it's cold, like for Oakland side, like it's not great, like to play in those situations. I think that I'll go back to the Kansas. I think I might up Kansas City a little bit into my next tier after the Dodgers, Braves, and San Diego. Maybe that's probably where I go. And then Oakland becomes like the value team I'm using for pieces. Right, and see, this is what Power saying. This ain't the same Morton from 5 years ago. But the problem is the numbers are the Morton from 5 years ago, and even then they weren't good enough. But we say that, and every year I hear the same thing about Morton. And every year, all you have to do is look at the game logs, look at the, forget ERA and stuff like that, right, for this early in the season, because one bad start will throw you off. Morton consistently goes 6 innings, gives up 2 to 4 runs, and just a solid enough. But as we've seen lately in baseball, you don't necessarily need to have your team score, 15 runs. We haven't been having those types of games. That happens more in the middle of summer when people are, for many reasons, the weather, people are resting people, etc. Anyway, that's pretty much what I got for this one. But
I tell you, the more I look and just even game log watch or whatever, and the projections in like the big buy-ins, like BB's going to get jammed. he's just going to get jammed. He's against the Angels. He's coming off of 2 straight 30-point performances. You know what I mean? I think he's going to be really popular. I don't necessarily disagree with it either.
Yeah, I think BB. I'm telling you though, I really think that Sears. So first of all, if you want an easy free bet today, I really don't understand this bet. And somebody, again, I know that Miami is not the highest strikeout team or whatever. Let's just take a quick look, because Sears has a 4. Some places it's a 3.5 and a 4.
We're going to look at this right now. We don't have to worry about it.
All right, let's see what it is on DraftKings, because I've seen different numbers as I jumped into it trying to figure it out.
Pitcher props. Okay.
So let's see.
Which game are we talking about?
It's the Oakland game.
Oakland. All right. So we have. I'll scroll down here. So JP Sears strikeouts 3. No. That's alternate. Hold on. Why do you have to do alternate? It's ridiculous. JP Sears strikeouts thrown. Why is it only giving me alternate? So 3+ minus 800. 6+ plus 150. So it's about 5.5.
Whoa, that's crazy. Okay. That seems way different than what I'm seeing elsewhere, but okay.
So 6 plus is plus 150. Then it's probably around 5, right? That's probably the.
I think 5.5 would be the number if you're saying that. Well, no, actually, it wouldn't be 5. It would probably be. Based on these numbers, I would guess that the numbers. Yeah, but 5 can't be the number. It's got to be a half. So yeah, that's weird. It'd probably be 4.5, laying money, and 5.5 at the plus odds, probably.
Strikeout. Oh no, this is regular strikeouts thrown. Hold on. So we got the regular.
What did you say the +6 was?
Oh, it's actually It's 4.5 minus 135.
I mean, that's ridiculous. Lock me in for that one.
What, we want over or under?
Oh, over.
Okay.
He had 2 fluky games where he had 1 strikeout, and then he's just been dealing lately. I mean, he had 5 and 6 innings against Texas, 7 and 6 innings against the Yankees, and 8 and 6 innings against Baltimore. His last 3 starts. It's Miami on who's traveling, and while
there it is, dude. Not say no more. Good enough for me.
Okay, I'll throw one out. I'll throw one more in there. Miami's the 3rd highest strikeout team in baseball against left-handed pitching.
Minus 135. We're in.
Yeah.
We're in for a hundo.
I think I know who my starters. I think I'm going to go with some Sears and BB today.
I like it.
Do you want to do a quick NBA preview after this? I think it'd be fun.
If
not, I can run through
it. Sure.
No, okay. If not, I can run through it. I mean, I've got it pretty ready.
Okay. Yeah. What, in 5 minutes?
Perfect.
Okay.
All right. Good luck today, everybody, and